So for 2022, we already sort of know what's coming this year. A lot of games that are coming this year. There was a recent Nintendo Direct only a week ago. I have got my thoughts on that fully with my good friend Gavin on the FATcast, which you can find on my channel somewhere. But there is one particular game that I want to talk about that I'm really looking forward to. I've not looked forward to a game this much in quite a few years now, and that is of course Xenoblade 3. And I just wanted to quickly read out my 10 hopes for the game. I think there's 10 here. Yes, there is in fact 10 hopes here. I'll talk about it in the FATcast, but these are my 3 hopes jotted down straight to the point that I want from Xenoblade 3. So let's bring in quickly. So number 1 is I hope that the what if scenario from 2 isn't canonical. By the way, Xenoblade spoilers here, so if you want to tune out now, feel free. If you're going to be carrying on watching me talk about Xenoblade 3, I also assume you're a Xenoblade fan and you have played the first 2 games at least, Xenoblade and Xenoblade 2, so let's carry on. Anyway, number 1, yeah, the what if scenario from 2 isn't canonical. In Xenoblade 2, Shulk and Fiora and Elmer from Xenoblade X transferred over to Xenoblade 2 so that they could be blades, and there's like a cool what if interactions between them all. That's ace, I love that, but I really hope it's not canonical, especially because Xenoblade 3 is going to be 2 worlds coming together. I hope that they haven't met before, or if they have, it needs to be in a canonical story fashion. It needs to not be this, especially because if that becomes canonical, and then the other blades become canonical, like Pratoka and Mikhail and that, that won't make any sense, because you can have Mikhail as a blade as he is another person in the story, so it gets a bit messy. So I hope that the what if scenario from 2 is not canonical. Number 2 is I hope the quests are more like Xenoblade 2's, but not the shit ones. So no Ursula quest where you have to spend half the game doing those mercenary missions. They suck. There's a lot of other Xenoblade 2 quests that aren't that great. But unlike Xenoblade 1, which a lot of them are very fetch quests and stuff like that, although there are a few really good ones in there, I hope the ones are more like 2, where they're voiced, they're character driven. I think there's another one here where it feels like, yeah, it's actually my number 8 here, but I'll just quickly say it. If it is a smaller cast than 2, I hope that the side quests are more like slice of life stuff, not just character building, but I also just want to see the characters interact, because Xenoblade character interactions are always so good. How they interact with each other and how they build off one another. They're always so good, so I hope we have more side quests like that. I hope it doesn't ruin the integrity of the previous game's stories. Of course, it's going to be set in the future, and it looks like there's going to be a couple of characters returning from the other games. So I hope that it doesn't ruin the integrity of the original game's stories. I saw someone saying about how there's a plot hole because Alvis in the first game says everyone's going to live together like happily or live hand in hand. I can see the future, do you know what I mean? My thing for that is, my theory is that the conduit is the thing that was powering Xenoblade 1's world, and because the conduit fucked off in 2, it made Xenoblade 1 and 2's worlds collapse into each other. So if the conduit stayed there forever, yes, I think Alvis would have been right, everyone lives hand in hand and the future's all happy and stuff like that. But the conduit's fucked now, so Alvis's future reading is no longer valid. That's my opinion on it. So I just hope that the integrity of those doesn't make the first 2 stories feel pointless, do you know what I mean? Like, a bit like how Star Wars did it with Palpatine. They brought Palpatine back and it was like, well, it just kind of makes the first 6 films feel a bit inconsequential, in terms of, killing the bad guy. Number 4, if there's DLC, do it like how they did with Torna. I don't want there to be DLC, I want it to be a complete package from the beginning, but if they do it like Torna, where they release the game, have like the expansion pass or what have you, but instead of getting that, you release the story DLC as its own game with all the expansion stuff included, I'll get that day one. I'd love more physical Xenoblade games. So if they're going to do that again, I hope they do it the same way as they did with Torna. Number 5, there are a lot of new areas as well as returning ones, because in the trailer it looks like we're going to be returning to the Fallen Arm, which is one of the returning areas that I saw. An area in the sea, it looked like a cross between Torna but Earth Sea. So I hope that there's going to be like lands combining from 1 and 2. That's going to be awesome. That'll be ace. But I hope there's a lot of new areas as well. So yeah, that's a hope of mine. Number 6, I hope it feels like you have to have played 1 and 2 before 3. This might not be a popular one because I think a lot of people will see Xenoblade 3 and think, I'm going to hop on that because it's the newest one. You don't really need to do that. I think that 1 and 2 are still... 1 is a bit dated in a side quest way, but I think the quest tracker alleviates that. So I hope that the game expects you to have played 1 and 2 before playing this one. I saw a few people saying, I just want to jump into this one, I don't have to play the other two. It's like, why would you not? Like, why would you not want to experience this amazing trilogy? So yeah, go back and play the other two. They are on Switch and they have been modernised to the fullest extent. And I imagine Xenoblade 3 is going to play a lot like them in regards to quality of life and stuff like that. So I hope that you'll have to have known certain things before going into Xenoblade 3, which I know makes the game not as accessible for a series that doesn't sell amazingly well, but I want it to because I feel like it'll enhance the story a lot more. I just don't want things to be overly explained, and I think it will make sense because the Xenoblade 3 characters are new, but I hope you have had to have played 1 and 2 to fully grasp 3. A bit like how you had to have played 1 to fully appreciate 2. Number 7 is, I want a new battle system, but still using the auto-attack system. So I want the auto-attack system that's been in all the other Xenoblade games, but a bit like 2, switch it up a bit, give us something a bit new. You know, Xenoblade X and 1 played quite similarly in terms of the battle system. In terms of, you auto-attack and then you select your art. Whereas in 2, you have arts, but it's connected to your blade, and you only have 3 arts, and you can switch them out and do all that kind of thing. I'd love for a new mechanic to be like that, because that was a really cool world-building mechanic with the blades and stuff like that, but it was also integrated really well into the gameplay, so I hope there's another thing like that. Number 8, I've already said, if it's a smaller cast than 2, I want more side quests to be slice of life stuff, yeah. Number 9, I want an explanation of Klaus's actions in history. That is something that I think we will probably get in Xenoblade X, because I think that's the thing that leads up to what happens to Klaus. Personally, that's not based off anything, it's just my theory because of like the space and that and the wall that he seems to be fighting. But I hope that I hope it closes it out, because the thing that connects these 3 games, Xenoblade 1, 2 and 3, is the incident with Klaus and him making the new universe and that. So I hope I hope the door closes on that in a very good fashion. And finally, number 10, I hope that Adam Howden is back in some fashion. He's been in every Xenoblade game up to date. You know, he was Shulk in Xenoblade 1, in Xenoblade 2, he was Shulk again, and I think he played a couple of NPCs. In Xenoblade X, he was a voice choice for the protagonist. So yeah, he needs to be back in some fashion. Don't know if it'll be as Shulk, probably not, to be honest. Yeah, obviously he was in Future Connected as Shulk as well, so yeah, he needs to come back in some fashion, because he is Mr. Xenoblade, to be honest. He's one of the strongest characters and strongest voice actors in the original game, and one of the ones that made the game so successful, I think. So yeah, Adam Howden, bring him back. So that's all I have for you this year, guys. I hope it's been a decent watch, and I'll see you in the next Fat Thoughts. So goodbye.